What's up, guys? I'm Colette.
I'm Candace, and this is Hey Cuz. We are back again. So, Colette has a story to tell. We don't really have a topic, per se. I guess we'll figure it out as we go along.
Yes.
So, tell
So,
us what happened.
I had a discussion with my father yesterday. I want to start off by saying I love both of my parents. I do. But generations and there's cultural differences and all that, it just leads to some issues and conflicts sometimes. So, we were talking and the discussion about hair came up and beauty and what that means, natural hair versus like straightening hair. Now, I know both of my parents prefer my hair is straight, they always have, which is fine. That's their preference. That's what they like to see on me. I had my hair perm when I was, I want to say 5 or 6 years old. So obviously it wasn't really a choice. And it's always been either straight or I had drop curls or whatever you want to call it. So as I got into my own and developed my own sense of what I thought was beautiful to me, I liked my hair natural. So I transitioned in 2014 and I have not permed it since. So for the most part, I wear my hair. It's curly, it's kinky. I do twist out. Sometimes I braid it. I mean, you guys see me in all types of things. Sometimes I have it wrapped, whatever. So in this phone call, my father was talking to me about beauty and how he likes, how his attraction to my mother stemmed from, her hair, being straightened out. And after my mom gave birth to me, she actually cut all her hair off and like started from scratch, going it back out. But his exact words were, I was okay with that because when I met her, the physical attraction was there. So later on, whatever she wants to do to her hair, I'm gonna love her either way because we're past the first glimpse. So for him, it was physical attraction, okay, and then you get to know a person, which that happens for the most part. Would you say is, that's most how it
Yeah,
happens?
that's
Yeah,
fair.
yeah.
Usually,
And
that's
everyone
how it
has their
goes.
preferences of what they think is beautiful, what attracts them. Now, when it started, conversation trickled down to me, and in terms of, dating and being able to catch a guy, as he says it,
How
he
did this
goes,
conversation even start? Because it's like a lot.
So I was calling to check up on them. They're on vacation right now, and I was calling to see, they called me to say that they flew down. I was checking up on them, make sure they landed safely. And the discussion, I honestly don't remember how we got on the topic of
It's like,
hair. No,
just
I
went
remember
on
we were
left.
talking about self-love and beauty, and
Okay.
that sort of trickled down to here somehow.
Okay.
And yeah, it got to talking about here, and we're talking about how he was asking me like how do you wear your hair and all that. I'm like, I do twist outs. I have right now I have it. No, he was asking me what I was doing. That's how it started. I was taking out my braids, and he was like, oh, okay, so what are you gonna do with it next? Are you gonna wear it straight? That was his question.
Straight for the guts.
It was just, yeah, it was straight there. And I was like, I might straighten it because I have a baby
Tell us
shower
how
coming
you
up this
really
weekend.
feel.
I might, or I might wear it, curly. I haven't decided yet. He goes, oh, okay, you don't straighten your hair anymore, or you don't have it perm. That was the follow-up question. Okay, we're still going there. We're still going
Tell us how you really feel.
there. So I was like, no, I haven't had my hair perm since 2014. He goes, so what's the reason for it? So I said, okay, well, we're just gonna open up the can of worms. Let's do it. So I said, I didn't really have a choice in the matter of my hair being perm. I said, mommy permed it when I was like 5 or 6. He was like, yeah, I remember that. I was very angry. And I was like, oh, okay. So I said, as I got older, I just didn't like the idea of straight hair is the only form of beauty. This standard that's put on women. I didn't like it because I remember a lot of the times growing up, I've heard from the both of you that you prefer my hair is straight, like that's your beauty. Your hair is your beauty. I've heard that a lot. And to me, I'm not my hair. Indiari, yes. I'm not my hair. I am beautiful. Whether I'm bald, whether I'm straight, whether I'm afro, whether I have a scarf on my head, whatever the case may be, I'm beautiful. And I've learned to accept that, and I love that. So there's no one that can talk me out of that. So I wear my hair natural. I can do a whole bunch of stuff with my hair. I'm not worried about when it rains. I'm not worried about all that. We talked about that in the previous podcast. So when we got on that topic, then he was like, oh, okay, you're an adult now. You choose to do what you want to do. But, in terms of like dating and stuff, like guys, they're physical. They see like, those physical features and, beauty. The woman should be doing things to amplify that beauty. So I'm letting him go on because I'm just listening. And, my response was like, of course, women can do things to amplify their beauty. To me, that's, accessories. That can be the clothes you wear. That can be the jewelry you put on. That can be the shoes, the bag, whatever. It can be the style of hair, right? The hairstyle that you do.
I mean,
All
that's
this
just
type of
waking
stuff.
up and appearing.
Exactly.
However, I give it to you, okay? Me getting out of bed is a standard of beauty, okay?
You heard it here first, okay? Waking out of bed. That
love
is
yourself.
all you gotta
Love
do.
yourself that much. That
Yes.
much. Okay.
Yes.
When I get out of bed and grace you with my presence, that's my standard right there.
I hear
that's
it, Candace. I'm here for it. Yes.
Apparently, Uncle didn't watch our video, but
oh no, he didn't. But I think he knew with this one because we're going there.
The link to the previous video.
Yes. They asked me for it too, so I guess they didn't watch it. But anyway,
I know they did. They did me too.
You got okay. Well,
but no, your mom asked me for it, so I guess
she asked me for it, so I assume that they watched it. But I think your parents are going to be going down there next, so at some point they'll get to it.
Do a group watch.
Yeah, and then we'll get the phone calls, but whatever.
That's fine.
So that's how we got on that topic. And, I talked about, okay, beauty can be amplified by all these different things. But I said in terms of whether or not you wear your hair straight, curly, and all that, you can't say one style is beautiful and the others are not. And he kept on saying, well, there's a small percentage of guys that find that beautiful. And I said, how do you know that? Are you in the dating world right now? Because last time I checked, you're married. Last time I did check, you're married. But right. So, and I was telling him, I said, I've gotten more compliments on me wearing my hair in its natural state from guys than I did when my hair was permed, from across the board, all races, but especially Black men. Mm-hmm. And I said, it makes me feel even more beautiful. It adds to that because here I am wearing my hair the way that God grew it out my head. Of course, you put your little lotion, whatever, and all that stuff in it. But I'm saying I'm not adding any chemicals to alter the pattern of my hair anymore. Mm-hmm. And I'm getting all this feedback of how beautiful it looks. Yeah. And here he is telling me, oh no, Colette, it's really a small percentage of men that actually like that. And I'm like, that's not true. And as far as that goes, even let's just argument say, let's just say it is a small percentage. Well, guess what? That is the percentage I'm interested in.
Okay. You gonna take me how I give it to you, okay?
And that's it. Because why would I want to be with someone that's like, I want you to, wear your hair a certain way, this, and the third. You want me to be in this cocoon of what you define as beauty. And I do not subscribe to anyone's definition of beauty but my own.
Right. Exactly.
So, and the conversation really got nowhere. At the end of the day, I was telling him, this is where this stems from. And I had growing up, because to hear that from random people that I don't really know and care about, that's one thing, but to hear it from home, to hear it from both parents, it created issues in me growing up. Like I thought, okay, I have to wear my hair straight for years, high school included. And it was, I had to get my hair permed. It was, okay, 2 weeks, it's time for a touch up. Like I didn't miss it, whether I was going to broke or not. But I had to, okay, I can't, hang out this week because I have to save this money to get my hair permed. Like that was the way I was living my life. Yeah. And it was completely ridiculous, but I did it because that's what I heard. And when I tried to bring that up, he kept on saying, I've never said that to you, Colette. I've never told you that. And I'm like, calm down. Where is the defense coming from? Like, at no point did I say you're a bad parent or anything like that. All I said was, when you said this, it affected me in this way.
Here's the thing, like parents, they'll like, oh, I never said that, or I don't remember. It's not like you said it directly, but these are conversations that are had consistently. Exactly. So even if you didn't say, oh, I don't like your hair if it's not straight, or I don't like your hair when you twist it out. Maybe you didn't say that, but in conversation, the story is always, these are things we've heard. Like, we're not crazy. We didn't make it
and
up.
the undertone of that was, well, you're gonna have a hard time dating because.
Yeah.
Is that what you took just from hearing it? Because it's your first time hearing
Even though we're not allowed to date anyway, but that's another story. There's a lot of contradictions going on, but
there's a lot.
And
I think they're missing those little jabs when they speak.
Yeah, it's
and
like
then when you call
we
it
hear
out,
it, we absorb it, and
issue.
it sticks, and it impacts.
Mm-hmm.
And even if it's said in jest, and I've told my parents, I'm like, even if you, and I tell everybody this, I'm like, just because you say JK or LOL after doesn't mean it's not mean.
Right.
A joke could be mean still. Even, I mean, it's just like, the 4 Agreements says, be intentional with your words. What was the intention of you saying that anyway? What good could have come from these statements? And that's what I always throw back to my parents. I'm like, yeah, you said it. Yeah, you laughed. Maybe it was funny, but what good was supposed to come from that? How is that supposed to edify my life? And I think that people should always answer those questions before they open their mouth to speak.
Facts. And I think when I'm speaking, I just wish that I'm listening to understand what you're trying to say versus I'm listening to react and respond.
Yes.
And I feel like all the time, I'm not even gonna say all, but a big majority of the time when I'm speaking to my parents, it's this, I'm listening to react versus I'm listening to understand.
I think that's most people in general.
To conflict.
Yeah. That's tough.
Yep.
So how did you feel after this conversation?
Huh?
How did you feel after the conversation?
I was triggered. I was angry. I was flustered. And I went on a whole India Arie purge. And it was great. But it just left me frustrated, really more so of the fact that we can't have a conversation. I'm 30 years old. We can't have a conversation about things that are bothering me without it being this full-on defense mode of you're attacking my parenting skills, or you're, defaming my character, whatever the case may be that, they might be feeling. And we can't just get to the bottom of things. Why can't we just have a conversation? It doesn't have to be any yelling, shouting, screaming match. It's just, let's talk. Let's have a dialogue. And I feel like I'm at a place where I feel comfortable enough to do that, but I don't think that they are. And I don't know where that stems from. Is that just cultural? Is that old?
I wonder that all the time too.
I don't know, but I don't feel like, okay, you're set in ways because you're XYZ age. You can change at any point in time. You can grow. Growing is painful, but it's necessary. And I want to grow with them. I want our relationship to evolve, but I can't be the only one willing to do so. I can't be the only one putting in work, because then we're not going to get anywhere. And then where does that leave me? Because then I have to set certain boundaries. And that's where it left me thinking is, well, I'm not going to get on the phone every time and have a conversation that stems off about, you talking about my hair or beauty or whatever the case may be, where it might be perceived as insulting, whether it's intentional or not, because I'm about preserving my peace. I don't care who it is. No one gets a free pass to interrupt that. So where does that leave me? Where is the boundaries now that I have to put up, and how much of that affects our relationship?
I understand that. I think it's a lot of parents, especially like foreign parents, they don't know how to approach having adult children. Because when your children are kids, you are automatically the figure of authority. But once we grow up, it's like it's an adult to an adult conversation.
Fact.
And even though we're your children, we are not children. And I think it's hard for them to process that. Also giving like unsolicited advice, things of this nature. And it's like, I didn't ask you. And as a kid, you instill certain values and things of that nature. And I feel like as an adult, if you are confident in your job as a parent, then you should be comfortable backing off. That's the point. I feel like that should be the whole goal. You should be able to back off and watch your children thrive as an adult. But I think the conflict comes in, they can't turn off the switch. They just see a child. I am your child, but I am not a child.
Say it again. Somebody missed it. Say it again.
I am your child.
Mm.
However, comma, I am not a child.
Mm.
So I think that's where it gets a little fuzzy. And I always question, I think a lot of children, especially like Caribbean children, from what I know, a lot of foreign kids anyway, they're afraid of their parents. A lot of parents parented with fear.
Mhm.
They discipline with fear. So now you're older and it's just weird. It's a weird dynamic that's created. I'm not going to be afraid of anyone. Like,
Facts.
no
Facts.
human, you fear God. I mean, you shouldn't be afraid of your parents. So I think the line is blurred between, well, I guess I could ask, does respect need to involve fear? And I think that they get lumped together.
Mhm.
I can respect you without being afraid of you. I should be able to voice my opinion without fear of repercussion, especially at this point in my life. Like I said, I'm grown. I'm an adult. We can have adult conversations. I think there's just a little discomfort there that they don't know how to approach it. But that mindset needs to shift.
Right.
That's the only way that the relationship's going to work. You can't talk down to me. You can't dictate things, you know? I'm grown, I work, I pay my bills, I live on my own, I take care of myself. Eventually being in a relationship, I will find my happiness, not completely, but I will find happiness and joy with someone else that doesn't involve you. That's the whole point. That's the circle of life, as my favorite movie says. We have to go through the circle of life, but it's like sometimes people get stuck. Yeah. And I think that's where the conflict goes. We have to keep moving. But if I'm moving and you're stuck here, you're stuck in high school, and I've been out of high school over 10 years. Mm-hmm. So there has to be a shifting, there has to be adjustments for it to work. And it gets tricky because when you laying down those boundaries, that becomes a problem. But at the same time, I wouldn't have to lay down boundaries if it was a little give and take.
Respect the rules.
Because at the end of the day, like I said, we are adults.
Right.
So we do have to protect our peace and protect our surroundings and be very intentional about that. So just like if you were a stranger, like you're not immune to these boundaries. Mm-hmm. You're not immune to these standards. Just like you set standards on us as we were growing up, we're going to set standards on you and expectations on you. Because that's, like I said, I'm going to do that with anyone. I do that with my coworkers. I do that with my employers, my boss, my friends. It doesn't, like, you're not, immune from that. You're not exempt from that just because you're my parent. I think that parenthood is like, I don't know, it's like a condition where they just have all the authority forever and ever, amen. And that's just not the case.
And I think pride in it. It's a lot of pride.
Must be, but we have pride too. And I think that there just needs to come a time where we are viewed as adults. Mm-hmm. And I think for a lot of families, it doesn't happen. And that's why there's always conflict. You want to keep calling me, telling me what to do. Like, I didn't ask. Yeah, you get to do that when I was a kid. You tell me what to do. You help guide me so I'm safe and I'm growing and I'm learning. But, now I've learned a lot. I've grown a lot. I don't need as much guidance. Mm-hmm. I will ask for guidance if I need it. I think that's the difference when you're a kid and you're a child. When you're a child, the guidance and the advice is imposed on you. But as you grow, you get to pick and choose what you need in your life. Right. So I will ask when it's needed. Mm-hmm. I think parents, just like a lot of other authority figures, you're there as a resource. So it's not like there's no obligation for me to reach out to you.
I don't think they got the memo though.
Well, here it is. You heard it first. Like you heard it here first. I don't know. I mean, I feel like this shouldn't be the first time. I don't know. I'm kind of lost on that point, but I'm just saying, I think, I don't know, maybe they're not comfortable just being the resource. But just like we didn't have a choice when we were kids, you kind of don't have a choice now.
Right.
You're a parent. Like when we're kids, we don't have the choice. Now that we're adult, as parents, you don't have the choice.
And I had this conversation with my mom back in 2019, and it went fairly well. And she's more open-minded now, which is hilarious because growing up, that relationship was very, very
Tricky.
Boom, explosion.
It's tricky. It's tricky.
Yes. So I
Yo.
find it quite interesting. But here we are. I just
Hey, take what you can get.
the way I see it now as being, an adult, um, like you said, my parents aren't doing anything for us right now. We
I
live on
think
our
it's
own,
hard for
pay our
them.
own bills. It might be, and you know what? That's nothing I can do about that. But all we have in my mind is communication. That's how we keep this relationship going, right? Yes, DNA and all that, but I mean, there's other people I share that with that I don't talk to at all. So all we have is communication, and if we can't get that right, then what is the relationship that we have? It's
Yeah.
non-existent.
Is it possible that, I guess maybe in previous generations, one's identity was so heavily attached to their family and their community? And now we're seeing in our generation, we're finding our identity in other places, it becoming our own person. And maybe that's where there's a generational difference, maybe. What do you think?
It could be because I feel like, even when they tell stories about growing up, it was mom said this, dad said this, and that's what you did. And I remember growing up, they both said something, but I still question it, whether that mean I got my ass beat or not. I still question it. I'm still like that. I'm 30. Um, our generation has a lot more liberties to do stuff like that. We're more open-minded. Um,
Mhm.
we're doing a lot more research. We're healing ourselves. We're getting help. Whereas that was all taboo for them growing up. So it could be that's all they had was their own family to latch onto. They didn't
Yeah,
have all
could
these
be.
other resources, or it was sort of a look down on you for going to these other resources.
The
Whereas us, it was
family
like
was the
promoted.
resource. It was the sole
Exactly. What
resource.
stays here and what
Well,
happens
that
here
could make
stays here,
sense.
us and Jesus. That's it. There was no therapy, there was no talking to friends, and nothing like that was viewed as a mode of a resource. But now our generation is like, oh no, I'm going to therapy, or I'm going to seek counseling, or I'm going to talk to this friend about this issue. Like we're doing that. So there's a difference in that. But how do you break down those walls? Because I want to break them down.
That's the question, isn't it? And I just had a conversation with my friend about that too. And she's like, why do you care so much?
Mm.
I'm like, I just feel like because it doesn't have to be this way. I feel like for me, just as a person, for me, if I see something that has room for improvement, I'm gonna try to improve it. That's just my nature. I do that with everything. So I feel like when it comes to family, and I'm like, it doesn't have to be this way. Like it's just frustrating to me. I'm like, it doesn't have to
Mm-hmm.
be this way. So why can't we try to fix it? But you can't fix something if you're the only one trying to fix it. So that's where the frustration comes in. But then you're the one that's looked at as the problem, which is ironic.
Because you're trying to change it up.
But some things need change.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, and that goes back to the mental health thing. Like if you have high blood pressure, you go take that high blood pressure pill. If you have diabetes, you go take insulin. But when it comes to emotional and social, issues, we're so resistant to the fix. And that's what I don't understand. It's just as
Yeah,
important,
it is. It
if
is.
not more important, I think.
And I just think about, if I'm ever blessed to have a future family of my own, I would not want any child of mine witnessing this weird rift between my parents and I. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous because I do not plan on raising any child of mine with this close communication. You do what I say and that's it. I'm God type of, authority. I
Mhm.
want to have an open dialogue. I want you to know why we're doing things. I want you to, be included, that type of stuff. So I feel like that will sort of have to start here before I can get to that. Because if not, it's going to be very confusing. I don't know about you, but I remember being very confused growing up, seeing grandparents and parents interact with one another.
Yeah, sometimes. I have controversial question, query, statement. I'm not sure yet. We'll see how it comes out. Do we feel like there's a sense of entitlement involved when it comes to parents? Like, are parents entitled to respect? Or are parents, do you think parents are entitled to just us because they poured so much into us and, you know, poured all their resources and their knowledge and their wisdom and their love into us, so they feel entitled to get a return on their investment? Say, I've heard that term. I want a return on my investment. I'm not a business.
Thank you.
I've heard that from a lot of people, even people my age who have kids. They're like, I want to return on my investment. That child didn't choose to be here. You don't have children to. That's so that, like, when you say that out loud, that sounds so egotistical.
Mm-hmm.
You had a child to get a return on what? To feed your ego, to say you did a good job. When you have kids, you're supposed to raise them.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'm like, do you want a cookie? For real. I feel that way sometimes. Like, we raised you. You were supposed to. I didn't, there wasn't a line in heaven and it's like, oh, pick me, I'm next. No, that's not how it goes. Like, you decided to have a child.
Mm-hmm.
That was a decision you made. And so you have a child, that means you therefore have to pool resources and raise that child and pour into that child in an ideal world. That's how it's supposed to go.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing, what it goes back to is like, why do people have children? I think that's the bigger question.
That is the
I don't have kids. I can't answer. If y'all got kids, people out there with kids, let me know. Why? These are things I need to know. And that's the main question. Why did you choose to have kids? Because when they're older, you feel entitled to something back. I don't think that it works that way with people. That's kind of like chattel slavery when you invest in the person and you want to work with. Like, that's the only situation where, with humans, it's slavery. Also employment. You hire someone, you're paying them, so you're expecting something in return. That's transactional. I don't feel like relationships should be transactional.
And I think that boils down to like just love in general. I think
any relationship. Your friends, family, romantic. Like, why a lot of relationships?
Their definition of love, like
I give and you should give me something back.
Is it performance based? Does it need to be earned? Whereas unconditional love is, hey, I love you. I don't care, if you're messing up or not. I still love you. I'm still going to show you this love. And you can still discipline somebody out of love, but there's a way to go about it. It's not this person has to do X, Y, Z amount of factors in order to gain your good graces for you to say, I am proud of you, son, or I'm proud of you. That's
another question, though, that concept of unconditional love. That's so weird. Everything is conditional in a way. It sounds wrong to say it.
But should it be? I feel like it is. It's like human nature. We don't know how to be selfless.
Sometimes it can get toxic. Because if something is just like unconditional, that means a person can just do whatever they want. You still don't love them. And that's not true. That's not real. That's not realistic. Because at some point, that's a condition. If you say
but
unconditional means no conditions.
Who you're giving that love to. So if you're giving it to a toxic person,
they just don't deserve the unconditional love.
You gotta make sure you choose wisely.
They just don't deserve that. I don't know. These are things that I think about sometimes. I'm like, is it really unconditional? Oh, it's a weird term. I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like everything's conditional in a way.
But should it be?
I think the conditions.
I know.
Boundaries are conditions. You can't just allow people to do whatever. That's what unconditional is. Like, no conditions. That's dangerous. That's just my take on it. I don't
know. I feel like
I'm very big on being intentional with words. I am very big on that. So I really do think about the meaning of words a lot. And I'm like, unconditional love.
I'm thinking also, but like I say, choose wise and all that. But just if you really care about somebody, there's a respect factor there. You're not going to just walk all over them and do anything and everything. If you have,
you shouldn't. But there are people who do. So that's what I'm saying. I mean, but that's why I'm saying conditions
And
exist.
I think this is, this is popping up because I think of like my grandmother that passed away in 2018. Like, she showed me unconditional love by definition, no conditions. Like your definition of unconditional love, whether I was messing up or not, this lady still open arms. And that is why she was like such an instrumental person in my life.
That's a powerful
And
thing.
when she passed, I mean, it shook my whole world because she showed me the true definition of love. And I always thought, even just watching her relationship with my grandfather, like to the very end, like this man did not leave her side, hospital and everything and all, did not leave her side any day. Every day he showed up. And just watching that, I'm just thinking, like, when they said those vows, so death do us part, sickness and health, like he took it all literally and fulfilled it. So can it be done? I feel like it can because of watching them. I saw that. But I do think you have to choose wisely who you give that to. But in terms of like parents and kids, I don't feel like your kid should have to earn your love. That's something that you should just give them because that's your kid. You brought them into the world, and it is your job and responsibility to raise them up to how they should be a productive, caring, kind person in society. And do kids go off straight sometimes despite good parenting? Absolutely. And I don't feel like that falls on them all the time either. I really don't. But in terms of growing, you should at some point start to see your child in different phases of life. They're an infant, they're a toddler, they're a child, they're a teenager, they're a young adult, they're an adult, they're a grown person. Like, you should treat them accordingly in each phase. It shouldn't be, oh, this is always going to be my baby, and you're treating them as if that, because that's not going to work.
No. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. But that's why I asked, like, are these just some entitled people? Like, it's uncomfortable to ask these questions, and people get mad when I say it, but that's what I'm here for. I'm gonna ask the hard questions since nobody's gonna ask it. I do feel like there's a little sense of entitlement.
Oh,
and
I
just
do.
For the fact that I've heard people say, I want to return my investment. What did you invest? I'm not gonna, I don't want to be vulgar. I was about to say, like, somebody invested some sperm and somebody invested an egg. That's it. Like, literally anyone can do it.
We have people out here.
And, in the case of, as far as I know, we were in accidents. You wanted children. You got married and you decided that you wanted to have children. So I feel like people need to check their intentions. What was your intent? And also at the same time, like, even if you did want a return on your investment, right? I feel like you got it. For me, I know, I graduated college with honors. I've never been addicted to any drugs or alcohol. I'm a good human being. For as far as the standards for people, our family, I feel like I did a pretty good job. So I feel like that's the return. What more do you want? Because at some point, we're gonna feel like we will never be good enough.
Right.
And I think when you get to that point, it's gonna be a problem. Because at some point, it's like, who am I living for? I'm not living my life for you.
Yes.
And that's what I'm saying about the entitlement. Like, you feel entitled to something. What is it? I can't live my life to please you.
And you shouldn't. No one.
Because if you say you get a return on your investment, where's my return? I'm doing all this work to make you happy. And if you're never happy, what's the point? At some point, my happiness, my joy, my peace is going to come first. And if you're not a part of that, then that's unfortunate. I'm not obligated to show up, and neither are you obligated at this point. We've done what we needed to do to make it to this point. Participation is voluntary at this point.
I agree.
So I think that's when you need to, like, you got to set some standards. You got to set some rules. Like, neither party has to show up at this point. We both did our jobs. Say, you did your job in raising, and we did our job on returning your investments.
Paid in full.
Paid in full with interest. I mean, how many more monthly payments do we got to give y'all?
I don't
Shoot,
got
I'm
no more
pushing
to give.
30. Like look,
Well,
we've
next
been
thing is
paying
I
up.
want grandkids. I want this. I want
We've
that.
been paying up, man. When do the payments stop? I need to know.
Give me the date.
Yeah, it has to. I mean, everything gets paid off in this world. Like, come on. How much does one owe in this situation?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a toxic way to look at having children anyway, but that's just me.
No,
but
I agree.
I think these are questions I need answered. What was the point? What was the purpose? What was the intent?
And what do you
because
want?
when you answer those questions, and then you could figure out and decide that you need to step back at some point.
Mm-hmm. Do some self.
If you had kids to make yourself look good, that's too much pressure to put on a person.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a conversation with my friend the other day. I said I felt so much pressure my whole life to live up to this ridiculous standard. I couldn't mess up. I had to go to church every Sunday, Wednesday, Friday. I had to get straight A's. I mean, and it wasn't like, kids in our class, but, oh, my mom got me my PlayStation because I got to be. Blah, blah.
No.
There was no rewards. It wasn't a reward for grades. It was an expectation.
Exactly.
There wasn't a congratulations.
But B was an issue. B was punishment.
Where's the extra points? Where's the rest of the Where's the rest of the grade? Right, you get a 98 and they say, where's the other 2 points? I mean, it's just, at what point does it stop? That's a lot. That's a lot to put on a person. And then, as you get older, you kind of have to unlearn a lot of the thing. And a lot of people don't take those steps, but I have. It is hard. Like we said in the therapy topic, it's not easy. It's not fun. It's not. Having to pull yourself back. Before you reintroduce yourself, you have to strip everything back. You have to take a step back. And that's the part that's hard. And I'm going through it. I've been going through it. And it's like, because I put pressure on myself in every aspect of my life to be great. And for what? For who? That's the questions that I have to ask myself. Why am I doing this? Do I feel the need to really be that amazing? Or am I doing it subconsciously for other people? So these are the questions that need to be answered. And for a lot of things, I feel like it wasn't for me. There's a lot of stuff that I've done. I'm like, I really could care less about this. Like, why am I doing this for real? Like, why am I trying to live? See, I don't care about that. So now I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I'm not wasting my time. If it doesn't serve me, doesn't make me happy, what am I doing? What am I doing for?
Right.
If there's things that might make my parents happy, if it's not necessary, I'm stressing myself out for it. I'm doing the things that it takes to be a productive human being, a productive adult. If I can take care of myself, I feel like that's an accomplishment. I don't currently owe them anything because I'm doing what I need to do. I'm working, I'm paying my bills, I'm feeding myself, washing my bottom every day. Nobody needs to come change my sheets and change my, Done. Oh, it's kind of ridiculous when you're an adult and you're still living to please your parents. Yeah. But there's a lot of people, and my therapist has said that, she's like, there's people in their 50s and 60s who are still living to please their parents that are alive. What sense does that make? Eventually, that, like I said, it's the circle of life. You need to move on. You can't be having your own kids and you still living to please your parents. You're a parent now. Like that you're like bouncing back and forth where you should always be moving forward. Right. So
it's not easy, but your words matter. Think about it, parents. Your words matter. They matter.
I think everyone should read the 4 Agreements. The 4 Agreements, the book. Everybody should buy that. Be intentional with your word. Never make assumptions. Can't remember the other 2 right now. Top. Always do your best. And there's another one. It's not coming to me. And the 5th agreement is be skeptical of everything, but learn to listen with understanding. That's my favorite one. Question everything. Yeah. But listen with understanding. That's the part that people forget. Of course. You have to learn to listen, to understand, not to react, not to respond. because that's how we get to learn about each other, and that's how we get to establish respect. And I think that's what's missing in these parental adult child relationships, is respect. Because I don't know if this is every family I know is high in Caribbean families. It's, as a child, you just have to, your parents are entitled to respect. And that's why I said we have to question this entitlement thing. And what does respect mean? I can respectfully question your opinion, because it is indeed an opinion.
And they don't think
where I think that's where the confusion lies.
Yeah.
You think your opinions are facts. No, it is indeed an opinion. Mm-hmm. And I have every right, even as a child, to question it respectfully, of course, as the kids say, respectfully. And I've always been that way, because my mom always taught me to speak up for myself, but it was a problem when,
did it towards her, of course.
Of course. Where did I learn these things from? You told me to speak up for myself. So I feel like, and that's the thing, we need to define these things. What does respect entail? Because I should be able to disagree with you and still be respectful, but I think that's what's missing. Or they throw the Bible at you, it says children obey your parents. What does obedience mean? But the Bible also says
parents, don't provoke your children.
Hallelujah. Don't provoke your children to wrath. So they always want to say one side of the story. You gotta get both sides of the story. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. With anything, let's tell the whole story.
Right. And I need the amnesia to go away. I really do need the amnesia to go away.
Yeah, I always question those things. Like, what does respect mean? What does obedience mean? Obedience mean I need to do every little thing that you tell me and just yes them. Not to me. I'm a human. Kids are human. They have emotions and feelings. They're complex beings. You can't just like dictate.
Remember the whole children must be seen, not heard?
Oh yeah. Yeah. But in the being seen, we heard you and the things that you said when you're talking to your brothers and your sisters and your friends, while you have us sitting there pretty.
Whole pulpit.
Look, while you have us sitting in the corner looking pretty with our bows, telling us to shut up. But when people shut up, they do listen. So while we're being seen and not heard, we heard. Because if we're being seen and not heard, that means somebody else is doing a lot of talking. And when y'all doing a lot of talking, we're in the corner listening. And the things that you say, they matter. Because even like I said, you guys like to say, oh, we didn't say that to you. We don't remember. You didn't say it to us. Maybe you didn't. That's probably true. But you said it. But you said it. It maybe not have been to my face, but you did say it. And I heard it. And it matters. I mean, I'm just saying, like, you can't be do as I say, not as I do.
Take accountability for what you say and what you do.
In Sunday school, they say, oh, be careful, little mouth, what you say. Be careful. I'm just, it's like, it comes, everything always comes full circle. So that's why I really try to be cognizant of the things that I say to people and around people, because even if it wasn't my intent to hurt them, it could still be hurtful. But that also goes back to being intentional with your words. So anything that I say, I'm going to be cautious of the intent of why I said it. And I think, it's fun to pick on your kids. That was the thing. I don't know why.
But the thing is, if you're older, you're coming to your parents and saying, okay, this was hurtful, whatever. And it might be painful for them to even hear that.
But that's what I'm saying is missing, especially like I know just from experience with, foreign, when you're first generation Americans, your parents are from somewhere else. In other countries, respect is a demand. It is, there's no question. You just respect your parents and what they say and what they do. So, but the thing is, they don't have to respect you because you're just a child.
Right.
And I think that's the problem, because as you grow, I expect respect from everyone. Unless I give you a reason to disrespect me, which I won't. I earn and I deserve respect. So why is it any different? I feel like I should have more respect in my own house. But it's clear. It's like, you don't respect me. You don't respect my opinion. I'm just supposed to say, do what you tell me to? No.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the problem. There's a lack of respect.
Yep.
We're supposed to respect our parents, but they don't respect us.
Mm-hmm.
Or they
There's
don't
no
think they have to.
accountability, and there's no apologizing when something is done wrong. There's just tiptoe around the issue.
Or you just forget about it. That's why when
Oh
you
yeah,
bring it
then
up,
it's
they don't
amnesia.
remember.
Mm-hmm.
It
really
when
is.
you don't address things, of course you're not gonna remember it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dangerous thing. Gotta do better.
Got to do better.
Know better, do better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How does it get better
I don't know.
in this situation? Does it get better?
I don't know.
One could hope. One could hope. Like I said, people always ask me, why do you care? I care because I know it doesn't have to be this way.
Right.
That's all. So I always want better for my life. I feel like you should wake up every day wanting something better in some area of your life. And I know my why. I know what better means for me. And at this point, like I said, I'm an adult. If you don't fit into that definition of better, that definition of growth, that definition of evolution, you're gonna get left out. I'm not gonna stay stuck in one place because people don't want to move. You're gonna get left behind. It is what it is.
It is.
And that's the healthy thing. You should always be trying to evolve as a person. And if people don't fit into that picture, you gotta set boundaries, because they will hinder your growth.
Right.
It is more common for someone to pull you down than for you to pull someone up. Mm-hmm. It's easy to quench a fire than to start one. That's just nature. So you just got to be cautious of who you surround yourself with. There are people who they don't always have your best interest at heart. Mm-hmm. Or even if they do have your best interest at heart and they just don't know how to execute. Right. That still is just as bad. Still toxic. You may have good intentions, but if it's not coming off, it's just as bad as you just having bad intentions. Mm-hmm. So what's the moral of this story?
Parents just don't understand, no?
Who said that? Parents just don't understand. Was that Will Smith?
Yeah.
Shoot, man, he was preaching that day.
The moral of the story is to grow, okay?
Is it that parents don't understand, or they don't want to, right, or they pretend like they don't because they can? I don't know. But
grow. Do better in life.
Yeah, everybody has to grow. Like they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but you can. You can't just say, oh, I'm old, or this is just how I've been doing it.
No, I don't.
That is like the worst thing that could come out of your mouth. You should always be flexible. Mm-hmm. Especially in the case of parents and their adult children. If you want so desperately to have a relationship with your adult children, you should be open to listening to them. Because every relationship requires two parties.
Right. And I can't understand how you can say, I care about this individual, and yet you're not willing to change or reflect on something in you that is hurting the person that you're claiming to care about. I can't get past that part.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not kids anymore. Can't treat us like kids. Don't make fun of me in front of my friends. No, but for real. Everybody has to treat each other with respect, parents or child or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. Define respect, what it means, define obedience, what that means. And then you come back to the table, because like I said, you're going to get left behind. And that's how I feel with any relationship. Say it all the time. If you don't fit into this construct of what I'm trying to build, you're gonna get kicked out of the fence. I'm gonna build a fence, and even if you are on the inside, I can still kick you. And I will.
Hey, you should. You should.
In my queendom, I have to protect
At
My
all
mental
costs.
at all costs.
Absolutely.
I said in my book, my sanity is sacred. I meant that. I meant it.
Preserve the
And
peace.
yeah, it don't matter who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Parent, brother, sister, cousin, whatever. Friend, foe.
You have to, man.
It is what it is.
Well, guys, you heard it here first.
Here's
On
the
the Hey
first of many
Cuz
awkward
podcast, this shit is
conversations.
done.
Yeah, but everything in peace and love.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I say every time I close out. Peace and love.
Yep.
That is my intent.
There you go. There you go.
But sometimes, love is tough. Tough love.
It's necessary. It's part of life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we thank you guys for listening as always. Peace and love.
Bye,
This was Hey
guys.
Cuz, and we'll see you next time.
Yes.
Bye.